Hello and welcome, I'm Liam the Music Reviewer. The MC in MC Ride stands for McQueen, all I have to say about that. And today we're going to be talking about the new Let's Eat Grandma record, I'm All Ears. Let's Eat Grandma, if you don't know them, are an art pop duo from Norwich. And they are also on the Transgressive Records label, which is home to acts like Foles, Always, Sophie. Just host a lot of good wee acts, and that's why Let's Eat Grandma were on my radar because it's in maybe a few moments like that because it's fucking hot out, and I wore this yellow fucking hoodie because that's apparently something that I do. But yes, they are on the Transgressive Records label. They're an art pop duo. Their debut record, I Gemini, back in 2016, got a lot of positive reviews. So I think expectations, I would say, were quite high for a lot of people that were keen on prior to this album. They weren't really on my radar until probably like the past week or something like that. But from my knowledge, they are not trying to replicate their first record, because that's kind of the downfall for a lot of acts. They want to basically do what they've already did, when most fans, I would say from my own experience, want to see them try and do something new, try and evolve. So they swapped out organic instrumentals in place of using music software that they picked up from college. And in addition to that, they got some outside help by bringing on Sophie and Faris Badwan from the Horrors on for production duties. I think both of those choices are pretty good, considering, well, Sophie has made pop very exciting. So if you can get somebody like that on your record, it's going to help you out big time. And Faris Badwan, while it might not seem like a natural choice to have him on, considering he was and still is part of the Horrors, a band who have just kind of constantly been shifting, changing shape throughout their career, it's kind of good to have somebody on like that is kind of really good when it comes to just making sure you're kind of changing it. And from the sounds of it, that's what this album needs to be for Let's Eat Grandma. It had to be change, not a dramatic shift, but enough that they could be taken a bit more serious as they did see themselves, or they admitted they felt like they were getting treated like a novelty act during like the first album cycle. That kind of anxiety that they had, and the anxiety that a listener might have about whether or not they managed to avoid that second album curse, can be laid to rest, even just from the first track alone. White Water is just a gorgeous combo of synths and strings, and really just does set the stage for this album. You can just tell from the get-go this is going to be a bit of a more meaty listen, a lot more layered, a lot more attention is being paid. The past 2 years haven't been wasted at all. They are making the change, and it can just be, if it can be felt from the first track, you're definitely like setting a precedent for the rest of the record. And when the next track you have on board is easily one of the best songs of the year, Hot Pink, then yeah, you're definitely leaving a very good impression. Hot Pink, well, like I say, Faris and Sophie got their hands on 2 tracks here. Hot Pink is one of them. You can tell Sophie took the reins of this one though. It's just full of that kind of rubbery plastic production, just the panning and the metallic clanging. It's just trademark Sophie, but it isn't boring. And I think a lot of people are wondering when it's going to start getting stale, if we're going to get used to it. But as it stands, it still is such a delight to hear her production, and yeah, it does make this track stand out all the more. That being said though, I do think this track, even if there wasn't the Sophie production, I would still find myself enjoying it due to just what the duo have to say on this. It's easily one of those kind of like smartest songs I've heard this year. I don't even want to say the smartest pop song, because that's just kind of belittling saying like that, because it just goes on to talk about kind of like gender roles, talking about masculinity and femininity, how people are belittled, talking about the definition of it. For two people at this age to be able to do a better job than, I would even say, Janelle Monáe did on Pink, on her latest record, Dirty Computer, which was a good song, don't get me wrong. I just felt the chorus there was a bit anticlimactic. I feel like Let's Eat Grandma knew what they were doing. They made sure that basically, yeah, even just like tapping into those stereotypes about masculinity and femininity, having just it sound so gorgeous yet so rough at the same time, is just delightfully smart and easily makes it one of the best tracks you hear all this year. Then you have a song like It's Not Just Me, which is the second collaborative track between Faris and Sophie for their production duties, and it's definitely a lot less frantic side of the same coin, because whereas Hot Pink was just like uber connected, as I say, trademark Sophie, this just feels a lot more chilled, synth poppy, but it isn't any less just fulfilling and enjoyable to listen to. It really does remind me of something that somebody like Ian Cook or Martin Docherty would have cooked up on the Church's debut album, like during their heyday. While Sophie and Faris totally deserve getting praise for the production they've done in this album, I really do think that Jenny and Rosa deserve to have most of the praise here, because while those two songs that I've listed there have just great production, Jenny and Rosa just show how, like I say, at this young age, they're like 18 or 19, they show so much expertise. It's honestly crazy. Take a song like Falling Into Me, for example, which, if I was to use one of my really shitty similes, it's like a knight in like synthy armor, but it's like encrusted with diamonds. It just feels utterly invincible. The chorus just it's etched itself into my head. Again, one of my favourite tracks on this album. And while a song like Hot Pink and Falling To Me, as I say, are two of my favourite tracks, the moments where this album becomes more than just pretty good and becomes great is when Let's Eat Grandma are just pushing themselves. For a second album, it is very easy to play it safe and just get an acclaim of, oh, it's good, but to push yourself into territory that you aren't too comfortable with and just make some like really beautiful, expansive tracks, then you're really going the extra mile, I'd say. Cool and Collected is the song that really just goes to show this. It's just over 9 minutes long, and when it first popped up, when I first saw it on the Spotify kind of like details, I was thinking to myself, oh, I wonder how they're gonna cope with that, because if you go into a song knowing how long it is, it can like set it up for you feeling like the pace is going to be all over the place. That's not the case at all. Just there's two songs like this on here, we'll get into the second one in a little bit, but Cool and Collected, just it feels utterly organic, feels totally emotional, and just there's this one line like 2/3 of the way into it where like one of the girls mentions how they say like, oh, I was the same that I ever was, or something, to paraphrase them, and then it just like jumps into this like new bit of the song, eventually goes from like just like this, like I say, grandiose piano into just like a really like simple like just keys and guitar. Like it's constantly shifting and changing, but you never feel bored by any sort of part of it, and I never did going into it. I knew the length of it, but when I come back to it, the concept of time just disappears. I'm just listening to it and just totally amazed by it. As I say, another one of my favourite tracks on here, but this is only like one of two of these really big chunky tracks. The second one that follows, titled after the film Donnie Darko, it follows up the song Ava, which is very tight, but and doesn't really go on for too long. It's only like about 2 minutes long, but like manages to like kind of capture that feeling of adolescence, realising just how things that you would have thought were so easy just are so much more complex in terms of relationships. Manages to kind of cover that sort of theme in a really short, tight space of time. Well, Cool and Collected did feel quite natural, even if it does at some points feel quite stark in its changes. Something like Donnie Darko just keeps amping up and up. It never feels like there's like a clear cut bit where the song is starting to change. It doesn't feel segmented at all. And the climax on this song, just this is a final song if you're wanting one. Like I've always said how you, and I think it's just kind of common knowledge, you never want your album to fizzle out, and if you listen to your final song and you go, well, I'm glad that we finished on this and not the penultimate track, even though Ava is a good song, this just a great way to close things out and to leave like a really good impression on the listener. There really isn't a point on this album where you're thinking to yourself, oh, they should have cut this out. Actually, there's only one moment with that, and it comes from an interlude in the form of the cat's pajamas, and it's not even like it's annoying or like a bad bit anyway. It just feels like a bit of a waste, if I'm being honest, because it didn't really all add that much to it, whereas like the other interlude, Miss Call, feels like it's tapping in to just kind of like this whole, like, because this album does talk a lot about adolescence and maturing. The album itself is in itself an example of maturing in terms of what they've done before. So and I've also read segments in interviews where like they've talked about phones, how they didn't even get like a proper phone in their words until just recently. But even out with the context of that interview, you can interpret that as being like, oh, they're ignoring this call, they're missing this one just now because they want to basically immerse themselves in this kind of feeling of like isolation to keep themselves away. The Cat's Pajamas can't be open to that sort of interpretation, at least not for me anyway. Maybe somebody else will see it as that way, but it's only like a few seconds long, so by the time you end up going, oh, I want to skip this, like you're probably only got like a few seconds left. But that's really the only real complaint I've got here. This was a total surprise for me because, as I say, this wasn't and I keep saying this as I said, even though I haven't like brought up a prelude to it at all, but as I am saying just now, it feels totally mature. It feels like, even though I wasn't amped up for this, I wasn't anticipating this album a great deal, I really wish I had been, but at the same time I wish I hadn't been, because I feel like, yeah, it just caught me completely off guard. The maturing and adolescence that it talks about in its lyrics and how they view the outside world totally works in with their own sound. It just feels like one complete piece. It doesn't feel like a parade of them, or it doesn't feel like there's all these like different sides to them that don't quite mix with each other or don't quite fit. It just, everything clicks into place. It does feel like Let's Eat Grandma did take the time to know where to put all these like individual puzzle pieces, and just like I say, like they knew where each bit clicked. It just feels like a really cohesive project that even when you go into a certain song thinking, is this a moment they're gonna slip? They never do. There isn't really, like I said, there isn't really a song here where I can go, this should have been cut out, or this kind of ruins it, this stops it from being good. This is just a great effort, a great sophomore record, and easily one of the best pop albums of the year. I'm struggling to think of any other album bar the Sophie record that from the pop world that manages to be on this level for me, honestly. Let's Eat Grandma did a great job. And in terms of a rating, I'm feeling a strong 8 on this, so the flat I know the hoodie was warranted, but I'm going to take it off as soon as this is finished. But as always guys, let me know what your favourite songs were, your worst songs were on this album if you listened to it. If you haven't, go listen to it. I promise you won't be disappointed. There'll be at least 1 or 2 songs that you'll be listening to for the rest of the day, the week, the year. But yeah, as always guys, just keep on keeping on, stay safe and stay hydrated because it's fucking hot out here.